Hi, my name's Chip Kirkpatrick. I live in Northeast Florida. I've been metal detecting for about 10 years, and I'm going to share a few of my finds with you today. I call this in the footsteps of criminals. Uh, Northeast Florida was famous during the 30s as a place for New York and Chicago gangsters to come and vacation. As a matter of fact, members of the Central Florida Metal Detecting Club down in Orlando got the opportunity to hunt at the site of the longest running FBI gun battle ever. It was a spot, a little two-frame wooden house on a little lake where the FBI trapped Ma Barker and her oldest son, George, which ultimately led to their deaths. And the house was being sold and being moved across the lake, and the FBI wanted them to go out there and search the property, primarily to mark where they found bullet casings, so they could track how that battle actually took place. But in Northeast Florida, we've had a lot of criminals come and visit our fair city as well. And I got the privilege of hunting a couple of places. One place is commonly called the Machine Gun Kelly House. It's on the west side of Jacksonville. It's an old two-story building. And the story is that Machine Gun Kelly and his wife were there, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, they were surrounded by police demanding they surrender. And that Kelly had a tunnel that went through a concrete doghouse at the front of the house by the front door that went about 1/4 of a mile out to the Ortega River, where he had a speedboat waiting. And he and the wife crawled through the tunnel, got in the boat, and disappeared. I was allowed to hunt the property, and I can assure you that story is not true. I crawled all through that doghouse with a pinpointer, and I can promise you that there's no way there was ever a tunnel dug through all the oak tree roots that are on that property, and the water table being so high. More than likely, they were tipped off beforehand and were gone before the police ever arrived. However, about 2 blocks away from where that was, I got the opportunity to hunt a house. It's a 100-year-old home, triple lot yard. And the second day I was in the backyard and I got a rather strange signal. So I started digging it, and I try not to dig a very large hole so that I don't cause much damage. And I was down and I'm reaching into the hole and feeling around, and I felt what was obviously the smooth glass of a mason jar. Now, we all want to find mason jars because primarily they were used to hide jewels and jewelry or coins. So I work it free and I pull it to the surface and I wipe off the dirt. And to my utter surprise, it was full of bullets, large bullets. I found that a little shocking. And I put my pinpointer back into the hole and it went nuts. Well, I spent the rest of that day and most of the next day pulling out over 50 stripper clips and 300 rounds of 30 caliber ammunition, live ammunition. These things have been dated to be from 1931 and 1937, so post-World War I, pre-World War II. And you have to wonder who would have this kind of ammunition, particularly in this kind of quantity, and why would they bury it? Obviously, it was somebody on the opposite end of the law who was trying to hide it. I spent a couple extra days on the property because these people had small children, and I wanted to make sure there was nothing like hand grenades or any kind of explosives buried on the property. But this was it. But it was a really interesting find. And then, about a year ago, I got a call from a gentleman who asked me if I would look for a lost ring. People know me in the area because I don't charge for looking for lost items, and I've got 33 returns so far. And he asked me what I would charge him, and I told him I wouldn't charge anything. But the arrangement I have is that I'm allowed to hunt the whole property and keep anything else that I might find. Now, normally, I come home with maybe $1 worth of change and a handful of Matchbox cars. But this was one time when things actually worked out in my benefit. And he was fine with that. He said he'd paid a man $150 to go out there and look for this ring, and the man had said that there was nothing out there. Now, the story behind the house is it was 90 years old. It had originally belonged to his aunt, and she must have been quite a character because the house was originally a brothel and a speakeasy. And a number of Chicago gangsters during the 30s were known to have partied there with their girlfriends. The house then was inherited by his father, and then he got it from his father. And the bank was getting ready to take the house back. But his father had lost a ring on the ground, and he was really hoping that he would be able to have it found. And I agreed to go and look. Well, the first thing I can tell you is the man who charged him $150 never went there, because I found all kinds of coins. I'm talking about Indian head pennies and wheat pennies. I'm talking about Mercury dimes, Roosevelt dimes, Barber quarters, even a Franklin $50. But like I said, I went there 3 times, gradually cleaning out the ground to where I could thoroughly search the property. On my 3rd trip, I found the man's ring. And I called him up and told him, and he was really excited. And I told him I'd be dropping it off on my way home, but there was still a little bit of the yard I wanted to go over. And he said, fine, and he said, I hope you find something valuable. And I said, hey, that'd be nice. Well, as I was wrapping up, I was getting up by the kitchen door. The sun is going down. It's getting dark. And I picked up a signal at about 4 inches that turned out to be a small ball of aluminum foil. A few inches away, there was a second one, another little ball of foil. And about a foot away, a little deeper, was a 3rd signal in the same range. Now, it's dark, I'm tired, and I didn't really enjoy the idea of digging another ball of foil. So I picked up my stuff and started heading to my car. I got about halfway there, and I could hear my late father's voice telling me, if you're going to do something, do it right. So with a heavy sigh, I turned around and went back, and I located the signal, and I dug it out. Now it's pitch black, and I'm fumbling around trying to find it in the dirt, and I recovered it. And at first I thought it was a pull tab. But the more I felt around with it, I realized it was a ring. And I thought, certainly this is costume jewelry because it had a rather large stone on it. Well, I dropped it in my pouch, packed up my stuff, cleaned everything up, got in my car, drove to the man's house, and presented him with his father's ring. And he was so excited. And he and his wife were just really happy. And I remembered the ring I had found, and I pulled it out, and it's still covered with dirt, dirt still in the center of the ring. And I showed it to his wife, and I said, by any chance, is this yours? And she goes, no, it's yours. And she goes, and I hope it's valuable. And I said, well, that would be nice. And I went on home. I trudged into my house, dirty and filthy, heading to the shower. My wife was sitting in the chair, and I dropped it in her hand, and I said, here, I got you something, and walked on, got in the shower. A few minutes later, I heard her yelling something at me, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. So when I got out, I said, what were you trying to tell me? And she said, it's stamped 14 karat. And I said, really? I said, I wonder if that stone is real. Well, every really good ring I have ever found has fit my wife's finger perfectly, except for this one. And she wanted to be able to wear it. So we took it to the jeweler the next day. Now, this is what it looks like. Oops. And according to the jeweler, that's about a 4 karat natural blue sapphire in an emerald cut with 6 diamonds. I've not had it appraised because I've never sold anything. I'm afraid if I got an appraisal on this, I might want to sell it. And besides that, she enjoys wearing it. But this just goes to show that sometimes doing a good deed for somebody can pay off. Hope you enjoy this. Hope to be seeing you soon on some other videos.